Good evening to all our wonderful viewers all over the world, and welcome to Face-to-Face program. This is the program where we frontally discuss political and social issues in Nigeria. This program is brought to you every Wednesday, 6 p.m. Nigerian time, anchored by my humble self, Prince Ewumade Konkon. Today, we are going to be joining the studio our regular contributor, our brother, Nusa Osaiku, all the way from the United States. And our program for today is very simple and direct. Is Nigeria a poor country? That is our topic for today. My brother, Mr. Nusa, you are welcome to the studio.
Thank you very much. It's a pleasure to join you today.
How are you today, sir?
Well, we give thanks to the Almighty, and we're ready to
Always
roll.
good to have you in the studio. My question is very simple. Is Nigeria a poor country? That's our topic for discussion for tonight. Many persons, having the situation that Nigeria is poor because of the world index and all that. Nigeria is being rated as the poverty capital of the world as of 2021 and 2022. That is not true. Because Nigeria is very blessed, like you know, I know, we are a very blessed nation. We have what many countries on the face of this planet, they anxious and they envy Nigeria because of the kind of things, the mineral resources we have. From the nook and cranny of Nigeria, we have about 41 mineral resources, that if any country have that kind of mineral resources, they will be the richest nation upon this planet. My brother, who did this to us? Why are we being called a poor country?
Thank you very much. It's my pleasure to join you today. First and foremost, I don't subscribe to those kind of labels. I 100% disagree with the assertion that Nigeria is a poor nation, because who determines who is a rich nation? Who determines who is a poor nation? Is it those who want to keep Nigeria poor? Because if you look at it, the wealth of a nation, to me, is not determined by the World Poverty Index or what have you. It is determined by the quality of life, the aspirational quality of life, and the available resources that are at the disposal of any nation. So if you take it from that context, then one can say Nigeria is a very rich nation. It is a nation that is blessed with abundant mineral and human resources. It's a nation of, according to estimates, nearly 200 million people, which is an asset. But there are many countries in the world that are in need of population. But the only issue we have is how to properly harness these abundant resources that is at the nation's disposal and ensure an equitable distribution of these resources to the teeming population of that country. And once we figure this out, then Nigeria will indeed be the richest country in the world. But today, basically, I would say, no, I disagree 100%. Nigeria is not a poor country. We are a rich country.
Thank you so much. Personally, I disagree with that too. Nigeria is not poor, like I said in my opening statement. Nigeria is not poor. We are so blessed. We are over 200 something million population. I think probably close to about 250 million right now. Nigeria is so blessed. We have mineral resources that other nations, they are looking for way, to tap their hand into those mineral resources, or to harness it one way or the other and export them into their own country. Most of this country, like a country like UK, Canada, US, what do they have? What do they really produce beside their Silicon Valley and other things? What do they really produce? Most of the production in the United States are coming from China. Nigeria is so blessed that 12 countries put together in Europe, Nigeria is still richer than those 12 countries.
Yes.
12 countries put together in Europe.
Yes. What we need to do, I'm sure that many have heard my position here, which I have stated on this platform on my previous appearance, that we have a problem in Nigeria. Our problem is not the absence of wealth. Our problem is how do we properly manage our wealth, our resources, to the benefit of our people. And to do this, we need to do the first thing, which I have said before, which is cultural transformation. We need to change our culture and our value system so that we can then properly manage our resources. Today, Nigeria is a society that believes in wasteful expenses, wasteful expenditure. We do not appreciate and manage our resources properly, whether it is the resources of the state or it is personal resources. So once we figure that out and we embrace the cultural transformation, then we can now begin to better manage our resources, okay? Because once we do that, trust me, Nigeria will become the envy of the world, and many would even want to migrate from Europe and America to come and live in Nigeria. All we just need to do is, first and foremost, do the right thing for us, which is fix our cultural values, the things that we value, the things that drives us, both at the individual level and at the society level. I have often said, which probably is not the popular opinion, because many, both in Europe and elsewhere, will tell you that leadership comes from the top down. But I have come to the conclusion that that is not applicable to Nigeria. That in our society, leadership should come from the bottom up. Now, even in Europe and America, I will tell you that leadership is on the top. No, in those societies, leadership is determined by the street, by the society, by their various communities. Because when their political leadership, whether it's in Europe or in America, does not reflect the values of their society, what do? They change the leadership to reflect their values. So what I am saying, the crusade I have been on, is that we need to have cultural transformation in Nigeria. That cultural transformation will lead to a rebirth of the nation that would now produce citizens that are patriotic, citizens that believe in service to nation and to others, not stomach infrastructure. That will lead to a nation where engineers would apply the law and follow their ethical guidelines. Security officers will abide and discharge their duties effectively. Citizens will respect the law and would subscribe to the notion that when you commit a crime, you don't ask for forgiveness, you have to atone for the crime. Because forgiveness in public square leads to repeat offenders. I'll cite this case again, which I often cite. When you're driving on the streets of Lagos or the streets of Benin or anywhere in Nigeria, you see a lot of recklessness on the road. But even when you warn these reckless drivers and say, hey, be careful, they wouldn't listen. But immediately they hit your vehicle or impact your vehicle, what do they do first? They jump down and beg for forgiveness. Forgetting that, hey, you had warned them prior to the incident. Now, if you refuse to forgive them and let them go, the people around will now say, you are a wicked person. Oga Abeg is one of the greatest threats to the development of Nigeria. We need to get rid of that war. We need to forget about forgiveness, except in spiritual context, and believe that if you commit a crime, you need to atone for it, which is atonement. Once we begin to embrace this as part of the cultural transformation, I believe Nigeria will become the greatest country on earth, because what will emerge from that transformed society is transformed political leadership. You cannot put the cart before the horse, because if a corrupt society, if a rotten society that does not believe in the right value system elects leaders, where are they going to get the transparent leaders from? Is it not from among them? So when I see Nigerians say, oh, well, we just need to have a decent leader, I begin to laugh. No, let us transform ourselves. I'll quote the Holy Scriptures here. Seek ye first the kingdom of God and his righteousness, and all other things shall be added unto it. So I say to my people, let us seek ye first a culturally transformed society and people, and we shall reap the benefits of good leadership and a transformed society.
Thank you so much, my brother. In my own opinion, Nigerian leadership is poor rather than being a poor country. Nigeria is so blessed that they cannot even, tap into their God-given potentials. The leadership of Nigeria is to be blamed for the poor living condition in Nigeria. Nigeria does not need foreign help to survive. We are not indeed a poor country. We are so blessed, but we have quite a lot of challenges, a lot of issues that need to be addressed, like you rightly said. We have issues of personal issues of individual issues, whereby we need to first of all reassess ourselves, how we see the society, how we address the society, how we do things as a people on our day-to-day living. We also have to look at the issue of corruption, which is one of the biggest challenges in Nigeria history, because that is where most of our problem lies. The institutions are not there. There are no institutions that check and that checkmate all the atrocities that are being carried out by those in the office of authority, especially the civil servants who are very corrupt, who are the enablers of the politicians. Like I always tell people, the civil servant, they are the enablers of the politicians. They teach them all the loopholes on how to steal, how to inflate budget and all that. So we are indeed not a poor nation, as people may assume. My question to you, why do people think that Nigeria is poor?
Well, there could be a variety of reasons for that, because if you look at the fact that, like you rightfully said, that we've not been blessed with transparent leadership, and then you look at the issue of corruption, the issue of proper management of our resources, you look at the fact that we are underdeveloped, and which is shameful when you look at the resources that have been earmarked for development of the nation, or how much that have been spent to date. We are grossly underdeveloped. And then you also look at the fact that Nigerians are all over the world as sojourners, economic migrants, which tells the story that the home front is not well. Because if everything is well at home, then young men and women will stay at home instead of migrating or going through very tough challenges, conditions in order to migrate to Europe. But however, even that as it may, I will still contest the fact that Nigeria is a poor nation. Many of those who say they have a lot of poverty in their country as well. I would give a case of India. India today is considered to be one of the emerging nations on earth. But I can guarantee you, if you go to India, the number of poor people in India is more than the total number of people that lives in Africa. That lives in Nigeria. If you go to India, though the country is developing at an alarming rate, but some of the infrastructural decay that are in India will amaze you. In fact, even here in the United States, there are places you will go to, you will think you're in a third world country. So poverty and underdevelopment is not the exclusive preserve of Nigeria. But having said that, we do need to transform our country. We do need to take advantage of our huge mineral resources to the benefit of our people. We do need to take advantage of the abundance of land, agricultural lands, arable lands that can be used for massive production of food for the people. And we can even go into mechanized farming to where we can begin to export some of this produce overseas to earn hard-earned foreign currencies. But again, this will require a transformed leadership, which will come from a transformed society. So once we transform our society and begin to get transformational leadership, then everything will begin to fall in place, and Nigeria will take its rightful place among the community of wealthy nations.
Thank you so much, my brother. Thank you for that. Our wonderful viewers all over the world, we thank you. This is a special program where we're discussing issue of Nigeria, if Nigeria is a poor nation or not. And we have our brother in the studio. My brother, thank you so much for being a part of this program. How do we overcome the challenges of being rated a poor nation?
Well, what we need to do is to start organizing. Organizing for the purpose of transformation. organizing for the purpose of turning around our country. I don't mean organizing for the purpose of winning an election or organize to vote for a particular candidate, but rather we need to organize for the purpose of transforming our country at the very basic level, at the societal level, where we begin to define value systems, we begin to define values and norms that are critical for any society that will develop or that is currently developed today. I believe that in Nigeria today, we are in a country where anything goes. Every infraction, every violation of the law is permissible. People will say, now in turn with this now. Oh, well, just wait for God to bless you. So we need to organize at the very basic level. Nigeria needs what I call the creation of a mass organization made up of all Nigerians of all shapes and stripes. Organization that is apolitical, that is non-partisan, that is non-religious or non-sectarian, and that will not endorse candidates for election. The purpose of this organization will be culture change. It has to embark on a nationwide campaign to redefine what it is to be a Nigerian and what is expected of every citizen of the country. So we should begin to ask ourselves now, not what will Nigeria do for me, but how is what I am doing today benefiting the country? Is what I'm doing today as a construction worker or as a police officer, how does it help Nigeria to get to the next level? How does it transform our country? Not what will I get? Not, oh, how do I get my own share? No, what you are doing now, does it make Nigeria to prosper? How does it impact my neighbor? Is it to the benefit of our country? When we begin to ask these questions and then begin to act accordingly, I believe that we will now have a transformed society and a transformed country. So once we organize at the mass level with this mass organization, that will then embark on a massive media campaign to re-educate our people. And in fact, today with the presence of technology, this is possible. And I'll give a little credit here. I remember in the 80s, one of the military administration set up something like that, although it was immediately turned into a vehicle for corruption. But what I'm calling for is similar to that, but it should not be a government-run institution. It should be run by the private sector. It should be run by average Nigerians and civil society. So we need to come together as a people and say, it is time for change.
Thank
so
you.
We can change our destiny.
Thank you so much. So which means those nations or people around the world that is insinuating that Nigeria is a poor nation, they are getting it wrong, because Nigeria is indeed not a poor nation. We are so blessed that we are unable to harness our God-given potentials, so, and the fact should be put straight to them that Nigeria is not indeed a poor nation, but our leader, we have poor leadership from bottom to the top. Those are the issues that need to be addressed for Nigeria to find its rightful place in place of nations, in the community of nations, sorry. So what is your final, say to
Commission.
our, what is your final conclusion on the matter to our audience and the viewers all over the world?
My final position is this. Nigerians should outrightly reject that notion that we are a poor nation, because we do not need anyone else to tell us we are poor or we are rich, because it is what you believe that is important. Because you may be poor today, your circumstances may be different today, but you must not accept that reality, because what you speak and believe to yourself defines who you are. So we are a rich nation. We have the resources, we have the potential, and we are in the process of harnessing those resources, and we will harness those resources. We just need to put the cart where it is and not putting the cart before the horse. But once we transform ourselves and our culture, well, hey, let these great nations of today wait, because Nigeria is coming. We're coming together, because we are going to take our rightful place in the Committee of Nations as one of the richest countries in the world. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Fellow Nigerians, at independence, Nigeria was at the same level with Brazil, India, Malaysia, and Indonesia. Today, these countries have left us far behind. due to corruption and unaccountability towards the service to Nigerians. So come 2023 general election is coming. So we are going to use this opportunity to vote wise. We are advising and advocating that Nigerians should vote wise, vote somebody with integrity, somebody that will be able to take Nigeria to the moon, somebody that will be able to set up institution and set up institution and strengthen them, somebody that will be able to make Nigeria an enviable country in the community of nations. That is who we are looking for come 2023. So Nigeria is not indeed a poor nation as being insinuated by some persons or from some quarters. So we have to shine our eyes come 2023. Let's vote a good leader. Let's vote somebody that's willing and ready to work for Nigeria, that will sacrifice on behalf of Nigerians. So we have come to the end of today's segment. And we're going to see you next week, same time, same place. Until then, I say remain blessed. Thank you, my brother, for being in this program today.
Thank you so much. My pleasure.